I got some pretty cool stuff to share with you today. This isn't a building video. It's everything else. I think you're going to like it. We got some new stuff in the mail. I want to show you where things are headed. I'll tell you what I did. I need a TIG welder is what I need. I do. For prototype stuff. We haven't had Josh building mufflers. We're going to get him to, as long as he's still interested. We have another guy that'll do it too, I think. You know who you are. Got something special for you. What I've got to prototype these mufflers, we've been working for 3 weeks. Every moment that I have free and the weekends on figuring these mufflers out. What makes them pull? What makes them work? We're gaining big knowledge. I'm not sharing anything with anybody until you see it on a saw. Even Bucking, I'm not even sharing it with him. He knows something's up, but I ain't sent him any videos. But what we got coming up, it knocks my socks off. It does. The problem is, a proper muffler that I came up with, we have a very good one. And that real simple design is 4-inch length pipe. Got a 1-inch OD thin wall coming outside. It works plain and simple. Remember the video where we were checking frequencies and we found out even an opened up stock muffler and a stock muffler both was about 21,000. That is pretty high frequency, and we was getting it down with that pipe muffler down into the human speaking range. We tested one more design and found out that we know works. And it did very similar results. Slightly different, but very similar. But the slightly different is what got my attention. Now, being a dirt bike guy, what I've done is had it in my head for years that for a two-stroke to work properly, it has to have the proper expansion chamber, the proper pipe on it. And we need that. And it has to be fairly long for it to work that way. Well, guess what? Not necessarily so. That's the dirt bike pipes on chainsaws, when they're made properly, they're exactly right, really make power. There's not even a question. Even on a stock saw, they make power. They really do. So, to get these guys on board building mufflers, what I had to do is be able to easily put something together and that's valid, that they can duplicate. This is what I need. Obviously, we're doing a 372s first. If the one design will get on a 272 with the other one, we won't. I'd like to do a couple of the steel once we get them under our the fold, so to speak. I want to do some for steels. I don't know if we're going to go under a 70cc saws. I don't think we're going to do mufflers for under them. 572, 576, there's a gain there to be had. I don't have one of them saws. If I can get my hands on one, we'll see what we can figure out. And I'm looking. But what I've got is this knockoff torch kit with all these little torches. Now, believe it or not, this actually fits onto, you can see the big nuts, right onto my oxyacetylene tanks. So I just got to pick up a couple little adapters, run my hose from the other. I keep my torches in the other bay, and I'll just run it in there, get that great big cutting torch off of it, and we're going to use these tack weld mufflers together. My MIG, I run 30 wire in it. It's a little heavier MIG. I can't get my heat down far enough. This will allow me to braze mufflers together or wire weld them. I'm pretty good at it, you know. I'm decent, you know. And so, that's a stop in muffler stuff. Now, I'm going to explain something. Junkyard Dog. We bench tuned it in the last video. I don't have the luxury of putting saws together for me out of pocket to play with. but I'm playing with that one because that's the Junkyard Dog. That came out of scrap parts that would not have been used any other way. I got very little in that saw. Okay, yeah, that I'm going to tell you, that's an extreme saw. We did a lot of cool things. Why did I build that? I know that's coming apart. You know it too. And I'll tell you when it'll do it. Just about time I hit nitromethane on that, 100%. Yeah, that's probably when it'll do it. If it ever does. Some of them will scare you. You think, well, it's coming apart, but they don't. And other ones think, well, they'll stay together doing that, and they won't. There's a lot that goes into a chainsaw of why they come apart. Now, what I've done with Junkyard Dog is give that a lot of RPMs, and I'll tell you why I did that. It's because if I only went like 1,000 or 1,500 above stock RPMs, every stroke is a power. A lot of pressure on the bearings. A lot. So there's a fine balance between how many RPMs can them bearings take with less power per stroke by running more RPMs, or am I better off just going ahead and giving it good power, 1,000 or 1,500 RPMs above stock, which is 12.9 for that saw, you know. So when we get one turning 18,000, that's kind of scary. I think that's my limit of my bearing. When I do this saw on nitromethane, I'm not going to turn initially very many RPMs. I'm going to turn probably 15.5. That's what I'll set it at, you know. And we're going to see where it lives at. Okay, so muffler stuff. It's coming up. We are building and trying and testing and screwing around. My biggest problem is trying to mount the darn things. Something that works nice for a muffler is very difficult to mount. I came up with something. I don't like it. It's not easy. And you don't want to have to tear your saw halfway apart just so you can mount a darn old muffler that, you know, it is what it is. Okay. We're going to be doing occasionally, because of what we're learning out of Junkyard Dog Saw. Remember, we flowed the cases, you know, filled them up and did this and that, matched the cylinder. Now that frees up horsepower up on the upper end, big time. So we want to build a higher quality work saw. Yes, I'm redesigning the wheel. I understand that, but I'm not. I'm just throwing more dirt bike stuff into these saws. There's plenty. Oh, there's plenty that never hit chainsaws. I can't believe somebody hasn't done this before this. And maybe they have, but I'm just not aware of it. But what we're going to do is build a different type of saw. A different type of work saw. One that's capable of taking a little more power than normal, because we will increase the RPM range of the saw in the wood. That's what we're going to do. Okay? Well, let me tell you what. Train Grow sent me a saw, and we're going to do that to his. But I got one more. I got a feeling I'm going to do one for Dan Caminetti. Dan, I've had his saw, I think, for 11 months, sitting on the shelf. He knew we couldn't build saws for a bit. For about 2 months, we couldn't get parts. And then everything that's been going on in this crazy little world, that things slowed up, and I had to take care of business, and still I am in that mode. But Dan says, I don't care what you do, but I want something special. So Dan's going to get something special. So was it Train Grow, and I'm going to share that with you in a minute. But I wasn't going to show you this stuff until I had everything. Now, something that we do in the bikes, and we know in saw builds, when we pull a crank out of a saw or put a new crank in, I'll tell you what, you don't know if that crank is actually centered where it's running true or not. So I'll tell you what we did. In this box right here is a dial indicator with a magnetic base. I'm going to put that on a 1/2-inch piece of steel on V-blocks. And we're going to spin them cranks. I got 2 of these, by the way. Other one's right here. Now what you do is you lay your crank in your V-blocks, the precision ground, and you turn that crank on them dial indicators. And you can tell how much they're out. And they'll surprise you. I think factory 6-7 thousandths, but you know something, sometimes they're way out of whack. What I want to do is on these higher end 372 builds that I'll be doing, I want to true the cranks. I want to get them within 2 thousandths. If it's perfect, I'll take it. But I want to get them within 2 thousandths of run out, because I want to make them bearings. If your crank's got run out and it's got this little all the time, that little bit at big RPMs is a lot of load on your bearings. Yes, it is. And I think we can build 372s using this stuff with our flowed cases. The cylinder matched to the cases like we did in Junkyard Dog. See, we're learning from that saw. That's what we're doing. We put a junk saw together that I have run it in the wood. I'll tell you that right now. It went beyond my wildest dreams. I'll just say that. We got to get the proper environment for the proper video to run that saw. And I got to have help. I got to have my boy, Colin. He's going to have to do some pretty cool camera work for that one. So you're going to see it soon. And know this, that there is going to be a rare few 372s built. Train got my attention. It ain't hard to get my attention in the first place. Just start talking chainsaws or dirt bikes or mules or draft horses. That's all you got to do. Yeah. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Train's a tree guy. He lives out just north of Syracuse. Well, I'd say he probably lives 3 hours from here. I'm going to go up and visit him someday, when everything comes to an end. I didn't even set the man back a saw. He knows what's going on. Guess what he sent me to build? Yep. Nice example of a 372. Nice example. Got good compression. That means we've probably got a darn good cylinder. This saw, it's a remarkable saw. It's not a high-hour saw. Okay, this is going to be a high-end build. And I'm going to tell you why. A few of you guys in the last, over the last couple months, have asked me what my all-time favorite go-to saw is, period, end of story. Tough one. Tough. Depends on what I'm doing. Bigger timber, I like 90, 95 cc saws. That's why I like 394s. I love a 394. I just love them. 395s are good, but it's not the same as 394 in my eyes. But they're supposed to be better. But you got to prove it to me. It's a preference, isn't it? Saws are a preference. Do you like steel or do you like husky? Do you want a 394 or do you want a 395? Look in the steels. You got the original 66 Magnum, and then you got the MS 660. I've had a bunch of MS 660s over the last few years over this bench. They've got old enough that they need a little attention. The 660 is not the same saw as the original flat top 66 Magnum. I'm going to tell you for a fact. They're trying to say it is. It's not. It's not. And I'm going to tell you how I can prove this to you anytime you want to see it. I built, before my back surgery there, yeah, broke my darn back, I built for Tristan, our lead guitar player in our band, which is defunct right now. More on that in a minute. For him and his dad, they got an MS 660. And I took it apart. He says, it ain't right. It runs, but it ain't right. Stock 372 runs all over us. Oh, that shouldn't be. So he wanted to see what goes into these saws. So I got one of my pure gold OEM back in the day cylinders out that I squirreled away. And I took that OEM old, I had this a long time, original 66 mag top end, ported it right in front of the fella, put it back together. I guess it was right after back surgery I did that. I get thinking about it because I couldn't hardly run the saw. I had to start it. And boy, when on that we took it outside, I hobbled out there with my walker. I remember that was right after back surgery. I hobbled out there with my walker. Here I am leaning my walker, going to start this friggin' hot rodded 66 Magnum. And I didn't get crazy with it either. That fired up. The minute that lit, his eyes got big. He knew that wasn't the same saw. We put it in the wood. Impressed. I'll get him to tell you what the difference is between the MS660 and the 66 Mag. There was a heck of a lot of difference. So, I think, because I like the 394 better than 395, there may be something to this. There really may. Okay, so we're going to do a way cool thing with Dan Caminetti's, which is the very next saw I'm doing. And Adam Fox, we're doing his 372. I'm not going to do the same thing for Adam because he has a different thing he needs this saw to do. I'm going to make it fit his environment, but it's going to be a good one. We're doing the whole brand new bottom end and everything in his saw, remember. But I'll show you what the deal is with this saw, why I got excited so bad, and how this all ties together in a neat little package. I made a decision on what my go-to saw has been based on one thing. The longevity that I've used it, hardcore logging, and how much timber did I probably cut with one particular saw. That's the two things I made it on, is longevity and what saw have I cut the most timber with. Okay, I got it right here. Thanks to Train. Original. See the red, not black. Should mean it's 10 millimeter. Pretty sure of it. It does have MS440 tank because for a lot of years you couldn't get the 044 tank. This is something that's accepted practice. The original 044 tanks were noted for splitting at the seams and leaking. Even the ones you bought to replace it, because I went through 3 on one saw, and I don't yank on handles. It's just they did leak. If I'd have known then what I know now, I'd have known how to fix them. No, I tossed the buggers. Crazy, ain't it? What's neat is I do have an OEM tank for one of these. Yes, I do. But this is together. This saw has got great compression. Now, on these older steels, the way to tell how much time is on them is right here. Come on, baby. The original last will start is on it. It hasn't separated from the rubber, and there's no cracks. That tells me so much as anything, unless somebody's changed the starter cover, which in this one it all matches. It looks the same. That isn't got a lot of time on it. It's old, but it's not high hour saw. I doubt very much I'll port this. Train, thanks, man. Train sent me this saw and this 372. He talked to me about it, and I love the backstory, which I won't bore you with it, but it was kind of cool. I'm building Train a saw for that. Yes, I am. I'm building that 372 for him, and he got my attention. That's what he did. You know how he got it? Talking chainsaws. That's all you got to do. Just talk chainsaws. I love you guys. This is fantastic. But that's been my go-to saw that I've made the most money with. or at least made a living. You know how logging is. You're eating steak all the way to peanut butter sandwiches the next day. You don't never know. And like right now, it's soft. It's dead soft. I haven't seen a log truck go by here in friggin' 3 weeks. And what I see them hauling is real low-grade stuff. Real low-grade. So that tells me they're going to pallet and blocking. Nobody's cutting high-grade timber in this region. Those that are taking a heck of a beating. They really are. But they know it. You do what you got to do in this world. You really do. Okay. This is premature to say this because you never know what the future brings. But Train said he's got a 394. Yeah. Don't use it sitting there. He said I might just send that to you. Okay, here's the deal. You look right up here. Up, you get over here. That's all backwards. See that right there, saw? Yep, you see that? That's a 394. Yeah, it's right there. That one actually runs good, but it looks terrible. We're trying to find enough parts to get a presentable saw, but it's one that has to be. It's got time on it. It was a logger saw. I've got to take that one apart and make sure things are right. The intake don't leak. The seals ain't leaking. Does it need bearings? Doesn't, because I've had some of them run awful good. The bearings are right out of them, and it's still strong. But that's got a lot of compression, so I know. I took them off and looked. The cylinder is beautiful, so I ain't the piston. Well, I like 394s. If you want to see what can be done with a Husqvarna saw, probably around December or something, I'll probably build a 394. And when we do, they're a big surprise from stock to when they're built. They're a big surprise. They're just like these 66 mags. When you build them stock, they're decent. They're the same size as a 390 Husky. A lot of people thought that they were the same as 394, 395. No, they're a little smaller, but they're a bunch lighter too. But so you compare them to the 390. Boy, they wake right up. Them 390s, you do them, they wake right up. They really do. I priced one of them because I wanted one. And I decided I wasn't getting one anytime soon. I'll tell you why. Because it's $1,200 and change plus tax. And there might be some bargains out there, but I wanted a brand new one just to say I've never had one. We don't get them in this region very often. We did have a guy that was a firewood guy. That he was a Hulk of a man anyway. And he run the 390 in firewood. Before that, he run the 2100. That's another one. I've got parts of two 2100s here, but not enough stuff to put a good one together. I'm trying to find a good bottom end with a manual oiler that's not leaking gas into the oil tank. Both of mine do. And it's just a tough deal. But I've got one good cylinder and piston, a real nice one. So sooner or later we'll get a 2100. The saw that I get the most gains from, that if you forget what size it is, percentage of gains is the 2100. Because from where it's at, that's a long bar, big timber saw. It isn't a high RPM saw. When I get done with them 2100s, they're real strong. Yeah, they're stronger than 394, trust me. 395. They're stronger saw, longer stroke. If you don't mind doing a little machining, you can get a 2100 crank and a 394 or 395. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I've never done it, but we figured that out years ago. And maybe we'll do one, because I happen to have two cranks and bad saws. If I get a third saw that I can actually build a 2100, I can take one of them 2100 cranks and build something else. I'm not taking saws in through the winter, through the spring, maybe till next summer, unless I've already talked to you. If I've already talked to you, I'll do what I said I could do. And it's just time frames keep moving back on me, because we just keep getting into something more and something more. Okay, I'm not going to make this a real long video, just a long one is all. And I'm waiting for UPS right now. I got to ship saws, and but I got a problem with my truck with taillights. And UPS has got my parts. Yep. Remember I told you guys when the turn signal indicator switch, they were known for shorting out? Yeah, well, guess what it did? We put the new one in there, and it burnt the circuit board in both my taillights. Well, I had another one of these trucks, and I went and stole one taillight and put in it, and so I could turn my left turn signal or left brake on, and it don't blow a fuse. But if I plug the right taillight in, yeah, it blows the fuse on a brake light or turn the signal. So we take the darn thing apart, go to the right side to test to see if the electric's clear. We plug in that left taillight on the right side by letting it dangle. Don't blow the fuse. So I ordered the parts, ordered 2 new lenses. I ordered the lenses separate from the electric part of the taillight that holds the bulbs. When that gets there, if it gets here quick enough, I'm shipping saws today. Otherwise, they're going out in the morning's mail. That means we're headed right straight into some way cool ones. We have a solution, it looks like, for that Blue Thunder. I think, because we just took a measurement, that if we use the stock bore with a pop-up piston in that Blue Thunder, the timing is different on them just enough that I will be able to keep that from freeporting. Yep, I had freeport problems, but I got a piston from Germany, and that was that piston. And a Voltaire cylinder, which way too much intake timing, way too much exhaust timing. Squish is perfect. But we think we have an answer to this. It's been a while since I had a saw fight me so bad. But you guys are sharp out there. There's a couple of you guys, you know who you are, been in the comments talking about that there's an early and late version. And the early version didn't like them big bores one whit. Guess what I found out? Before you even said it, I found out you're right. Good for you. When you guys come up with something, I don't care how harebrained you think it is, or like, well, gee, I might be being stupid. Say it. If you have an idea, you say it. Because this isn't a place where we have to debate who's smarter, or who knows more, or who knows anything. This is not that place. We're friends here. We're all friends. And what that means, if you got something to say, you say it, and let me figure. I've learned so darn much from you guys, it's ridiculous. I'll bet you, as far as tips and tricks, you guys have shared more with me than I have you. As a whole. I guarantee it. You guys just amaze me. You absolutely amaze me. Tim Barden, how you doing, buddy? Tim and I are going to be cutting here soon, I think. As soon as I got to get these 3 of these saws out. I want to get with Tim. I didn't want to do it when it was hotter than heck. I'd tip over. I want to get with Tim. I met Tim up to that vintage motocross race in La Mocha there. Tim's a heck of a good guy. And I want to cut some trees with him. And I'm down with that. There's one of you guys in PA there that I don't think lives too far. I'd like to this winter come down and cut with one of you guys. Because you PA stump jumpers tickle the crap out of me. You might get a dumb look on your face, but you sure know how to keep them sharp. Because you learned how to. And you're dealing with the same terrain we are here exactly. You know, the same terrain. Them PA guys have probably cut more timber than the New York guys have over the last 40 years. I'm going to say. Boy, I tell you, I seen crews down there. I seen one crew that had a 225 timberjack with a 353 Detroit that was just fog and blue all the time. And the center pins in that was so bad the skidder set like this, and it didn't have a brake on it. Bald tires, and they had chains all the way around. I watched that crew work in the wind, the rain, the cold, the snow, keep right on rolling, making big numbers with junk equipment. Junk. They were proud of that junk. If they'd have had one more darn thing happen, it wouldn't have been a skidder, but they just run it. That's what you guys down there do, and I know it. I love you guys. Okay, you take care. You'll have a video tomorrow. I got something else I'm going to share with you, potentially. And have a good day. Thank you.